boxing life, it'll be very difficult to top that. And now here comes Timothy Bradley, who, as you can see, is 5-0 when fighting at welterweight. But of course, he's unbeaten throughout his career at 140 and 147 pounds.
Much like will be the case with Pacquiao when we see him against Rios in November. When a guy goes through a fight, like Bradley went through with Provodnikov, sometimes it can rearrange his wiring in a way where he never reacts to punches the same way again. And that's one of the things, the great curiosities about this fight. What will happen when Bradley gets hit?
So Timothy Bradley enters the ring, and you see the recent dossier, including the much disputed win over Pacquiao and the very close decision win against Provodnikov. Some observers felt that he might have been the loser there as well. Now let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, by way of Wynn, Las Vegas, this is the moment we've all been waiting for as Bob Arams, Top Rank Incorporated, Zanfer Promotions, and Marquez Boxing proudly present the main event of the evening, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Welterweight Championship of the World. Sponsored by Tecate Con Carácter, Wingstop, the wing experts, and Value Casa de Bolsa. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Bill Brady, Executive Director Keith Kaiser, WBO President Francisco Paco Barcarcel. At ringside, the three judges scoring on the 10-point system will be Glenn Feldman, Robert Hoyle, and Patricia Morse-Jarman. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, veteran World Championship referee Robert Byrd. And now, the officials are ready, the fighters are ready. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and courtesy of HBO pay-per-view, the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner with his head trainer Nacho Berenstein, officially weighing in at 144 1/2 pounds and wearing black with red and green. His professional record, Hall of Fame credentials, 55 victories, including 40 knockouts, 6 defeats, and 1 draw. He's the former featherweight, former super featherweight, former lightweight, former super lightweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros de Ciudad de México, el legendario campeón mexicano, Juan Manuel Dinamita Marquez. And fighting out of the red corner with his trainer Joel Diaz, wearing camouflage and officially weighing in at 146 pounds. His professional record, a perfect one, consisting of 30 fights, 30 victories, including 12 knockouts, and he has captured 2 world titles. From Palm Springs, California, USA, the former light welterweight champion of the world, the reigning, defending, undefeated WBO welterweight champion of the world, Timothy Desert Storm Bradley.
Okay, gentlemen, you had your instructions in the dressing room. We'll remind you of a few things now. First and most important, when I say stop, what that means is stop whatever you're doing, give me a clean break. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Both of you are champions. I expect you to conduct yourselves that way. Mr. Bradley, Mr. Marquez, let's do this.
Tim Bradley says that Juan Manuel Marquez, after tonight, will remember him for the rest of his life. If that's true, we'll remember this fight for the rest of ours.
They're fighting for a belt that Bradley was given as the result of what happened the night that he fought Pacquiao, and that Marquez wants because earning that belt would make him the first Mexican fighter to have won titles in 5 different weight classes. And any distinction that sets you apart from all other Mexican fighters is an amazing distinction. Crowd is chanting Marquez, 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 trying to get their star started early. Both are excellent counterpunchers, and it's not out of the question that we'll see some stretches tonight while the two great counterpunchers look at each other, waiting for the other to lead. But Bradley most likely will fill that gap because he likes to use his jab.
And Marquez is coming out kind of aggressive here early. He's not waiting to counter. He's going at Timothy Bradley early, like as though to say, I'm going to win this fight even if it's a decision. So this is interesting.
Because of Marquez's knockout of Pacquiao, one of the greatest one-punch knockouts in the history of boxing, and because of the damage that Bradley sustained in the Provodnikov fight, this is a butterflies fight so far. Though there hasn't been a lot of action, you're sitting here on pins and needles watching it because of the potential explosion that could happen at any moment, particularly for Marquez.
Quickly, let's ask our ringside rules expert, Steve Weisfeld, for a rundown on referee Robert Byrd. Steve.
Jim, Robert Byrd started boxing when he was in the Marines on the same team as Ken Norton. Robert usually employs what's called a West Coast referee style, walking combined with strong voice commands, as opposed to the in and out and side to side movement more typically used by East Coast referees. Robert's done about 115 world title fights and is one of the best referees around today.
Solid left-hand shots from Juan Manuel Marquez, landing uppercuts and left hooks in the early going.
I tell you, Marquez looks like he's trying to see can he knock Tim Bradley out already. There was 2 thunderous left uppercuts that he landed.
And a good left hook there by Marquez.
On the head, but
And look at how Bradley responds, right in his face, which could play into Marquez's hands, but it's in Bradley's nature.
Bradley more of an open target than he might like to be here in round number 1. Marquez placing his shots with precision and with power.
Bradley just led with a good body shot.
My take on Robert Byrd is that he tries about as hard as any other referee to stay out of the action and be inconspicuous. And I think you've seen that already in round number 1.
Talk to me, baby. Huh? He's out. Okay, he's solid. That's why you gotta be smart, dude. You gotta get fucking smart, okay? Don't let him establish that fucking left hook, okay? Don't let him establish that uppercut. You got this? You gotta stay smart. You gotta throw that jab in. When you throw that jab, he's throwing his. So you gotta right back, react with the right hand over, okay? It's a close round. It's a close round. But I need you to stay smart, baby, okay? Okay. Stay smart. Make them miss and make them pay. Right? But you see when you close the gap, you stop the action. I need you to keep doing that shit.
Here you see Bradley coming in with overhand right, getting low to duck the uppercut, but a headbutt lands right there under the eye of Marquez. That's the one thing that they have to be careful of. That's what Harold Letterman was talking about yesterday.
Bradley said he used his head.
Hasn't had a significant headbutt since the Devin Alexander fight, but it was a marked element of his career for many fights during the middle stretches. Copy box numbers in round one. Bradley 10 out of 43, Marquez 12 out of 33, and an 8-3 edge for Marquez in landed power shots.
I think round one was a fill-out round for Tim Bradley. He came back to the corner and said that Marquez is solid. So he saw what he needed to see. Now I think he'll settle in and try to put his game plan to work.
I see
Left hook to the body by Bradley.
I see Provodnikov Bradley here. I see him aggressive and making a straight line for Marquez in this round. A fight has not yet erupted, but it looks like we're getting close.
Yeah, I think it's controlled aggression by both guys. But these two guys are definitely out here to win this fight and prove a point. Nobody's willing to just sit back and beat the counterpuncher.
Well, so far, it's an intense chess match in which Marquez has landed the more thudding blows. But Bradley got in a body shot about 30 seconds ago that could have meant something. Referee Robert Byrd thought it was on the belt line and told Bradley to keep him up.
Thudding blows that Marquez is landing are not landing cleanly, which was also the case with Pacquiao. And we were scoring rounds for Pacquiao, seeing that they were hitting arms and elbows oftentimes with more force. Not clear that Marquez necessarily carries these rounds with the thudding blows that are nonetheless not clean blows.
Bradley going side to side, trying to use lateral movement. Marquez waiting for Bradley to throw and then countering instantly.
Bradley hit Marquez with a beautiful counter hook just now.
Yesterday we asked Juan Manuel Marquez, the great counterpuncher.
Oh.
And there's a hard right hand by Bradley.
The best punch of the fight by far so far.
We asked Marquez, who are other current fighters who you think are also tremendous counterpunchers? And of course, the first name off his lips was Floyd Mayweather. That's obvious. Then he thought for a few seconds and said, Timothy Bradley. And you've already seen that element as well.
Oh, good
body shot by Bradley with the left
yes,
hook.
Wonderful shot, right to the liver. And it was answered by Marquez.
Good jab by Bradley there. Hasn't doubled up on the jab yet. Dangerous to do. Doesn't want to see Marquez throwing a right hand back over the top of it. Another left hook by Bradley. And now he attacks and takes Marquez into the corner and gives it a little bit of the same Tim Bradley we saw against Ruslan Provodnikov.
The right hand. Gonna put a lot of Vaseline here because of that big head of his. Water. How'd it go? You're very good, very good. The only thing, going too far back. Go inside. Inside if you can catch him with that right. The left hook, not so much. That left shot, not so much, all right? But the right straight. And you finish off.
Here you go, Timothy Bradley, countering the feint jab by Marquez and countering it with the right hand. Still landed the right hand, even though Marquez didn't throw the jab. Then at the end of the round, you see a real fight break out here. Nothing real crucial, but they were exchanging.
I think that was an end of the round flurry aimed at winning the round. Excuse me, winning the round for Bradley, and he just might have done so. CompuBox numbers in the second round: Bradley 13 out of 61, Marquez 12 out of 37, and there's the beginning of what might become the activity gap, where Bradley threw 24 more punches in the round than did Marquez.
Which is what we expected, Jim.
The danger for Bradley in those exchanges is that though Marquez is not a seek and destroy guy, when you bring the fight to him, he answers with real ferocity. And we see he has one-punch power, especially in recent years. And that could spell trouble for Bradley as the fight progresses.
The most dangerous thing that could happen right now is if they collide heads as hard as they're coming forward at one another. Both of these guys are attacking very hard, and if they happen to hit heads again, Timothy Bradley is definitely going to be the beneficiary of that.
You heard Nacho Beristain in Marquez's corner telling him, focus on the right hand. Don't try to fall so in love with your left hook. early on.
Bradley landed a good left hook earlier in this round.
Another left hook to the body by Tim Bradley. In Tim Bradley's corner, he gets instructions from trainer Joel Diaz and his father, Big Ray. Let's listen in for a little while.
Make him dig. Make him dig. There you go. Jab and counter out through his jab.
There's the double
Tighten up
jab.
the shield.
So they asked Bradley to double jab, and he finally did it. Although, again, I think he's reluctant because of the counter-punching right there with the right hand of Juan Manuel Marquez.
Although he slipped almost all of that first right hand to the head, Bradley did. But you're right, he was conscious of it. He was wary of it.
Tell you, Bradley's doing a good job to use his jab, though, to keep Marquez kind of offset. Using his jab and stepping left and right so that Marquez can't really be in position to counter.
At that time, Bradley hooked off a jab action and landed the shot. He told us that the key to the fight was using his jab, just as Roy described, to keep Marquez off balance.
Bradley doing a really good job of turning with Marquez's right hand to take everything off of it.
Yeah, he did a great job of turning with it then.
Again, he does it.
Marquez misses with the right, gets in a little left hook. Bradley retaliates as he comes off the ropes.
Good exchange.
Aldo Marquez, Juan Manuel's son, attending his first Juan Manuel Marquez prize fight. They live in Mexico City, always have.
Everything well. See if you can do it. I know it's difficult, but finish off one. Finish off one. Agrees, the Vaseline. You can't put his hook on the inside. When you're inside, throw the body when you're close, but wherever you can, and with strength, wherever you can, and lively with the head movement. You move your head, and then he loses his confidence. You fake him also.
We told you about the output gap, which we expect and which could affect scoring in the fight. CompuBox numbers in the third round. Bradley threw 38. Marquez only threw 25 punches. Bradley landed 10, Marquez 6. And now let's go to Harold Letterman to see how he scored the first 3 rounds. Harold?
Okay, Jim. I got a 2-1. 29-28. Timothy Bradley. You know, Jim, in round one, Juan Manuel Marquez did an amazing job, landed some really nice right-hand counters. But in rounds 2 and 3, Timothy Bradley got off first, took the fight to Juan Manuel Marquez, backed him up, and in my eyes, did more damage. I got to tell you something, Jim. As far as that Vaseline goes, Robert Byrd ought to make them take some of the Vaseline off Marquez's face. It's over his beard, over his mouth, all over the place.
How does it help him, Harold?
Well, what they think that Bradley's head will slip off, you know, there's a headbutt. But it's just too much. You're going to have one of these guys get Vaseline in his eye, and that's dangerous.
I saw Marquez faint, Bradley react, and a little smile come
Good
across
right hand
Marquez's
counter by
face,
Bradley. Yep.
as though he had seen something that he can time in Bradley.
Go over there. Go over there. Go over there. I got time. Come here.
I wonder if Byrd heard you, Harold.
Wipe that off his body. Wipe it off his body. Here, take it off. Take it off. Take it off.
I mean, Jim, the guy looks like a greased
Roll
pig.
time.
Let's face reality.
So they do remove some of the Vaseline from Juan Manuel Marquez, and we resume the 4th round with a little under 2 minutes to go.
Bradley may have hurt him with the right hand in, and I must say they moved the Vaseline from his body, not from his head.
Stop, 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 stop. Step out, step out, step out.
And right now, this fight is going in Timothy Bradley's favor because he's controlling the rhythm.
When I see Marquez with a hint of a smile on his face after watching Bradley react to a feint, can't get out of my mind the right hand that practically decapitated Manny Pacquiao. And that's something that Bradley has to watch all fight long.
The crowd was expecting more action.
Stop, stop. Here we go.
Perhaps not realizing that both guys like to counterpunch a great deal. In most exchanges, Bradley's getting off first. Hard shot by Marquez. Right hand drove Bradley back. Now Bradley tilting to fire the left to the body. Lands his jab, and Marquez once again retaliates with a right hand to the body.
I think that was a good lead hook by Marquez.
By Bradley. Marquez lands a right hand, but to the arm of Bradley as Tim was moving away. It's going to be a fight of skirmishes. Little firefights here and there, punctuated by periods of inactivity while they wait to see where they want to go next.
You won this fucking round again. You keep doing what you're doing, Tim. Don't fucking get out of the line on you. Hey, he's slow. You can see everything. Stay low. Pick him. Make him work. And always
Adonis Stevenson, legitimate light heavyweight champion of the world after his knockout victory over Chad Dawson in June. And then on September 28th, his 7-round destruction of Tavoris Cloud, in which he showed that he can move, box, make you miss, and make you pay triple.
Triple is right.
What a talent.
That's it, that's it, that's it, that's it. Press him, pressure him, but be intelligent about it.
CompuBox numbers in round 4. They belong to Tim Bradley numerically. 17 out of 49. To Marquez, 11 out of 39. Bradley with a 12-8 power edge shot. Again, it's a fight which is taking place in skirmishes. Little firefights here and there. Bradley most often initiates them, and he's trying to land last as well.
In fights like this, if Bradley is carrying these rounds with greater activity, the question in a boxing match of this kind is, can the fighter who's being outworked or outboxed land something in an exchange, even if he's in the process of losing the exchange, that can alter the course of the fight?
And given the power that Marquez showed against Pacquiao, that cannot ever be ruled out.
Marquez doing a good job catching that Bradley jab with his glove.
Yeah, but Bradley's just using it to keep him busy and to keep him on the defense, because the more he's defending, the less he can attack. Bradley's pretty much controlling the pace of the fight with his jab right now, and he's decided when he goes and when he doesn't go. And this is not good for Marquez.
This fight is falling into a pattern that's very favorable to Timothy Bradley, because Marquez isn't working hard enough. Bradley lands a good left hook in there.
I thought he got caught with a right hand in the exchange.
Yeah, but his punch, his left hook was the better punch of that exchange.
There's a brace of hard punches from Marquez. 2 body shots landed for him.
I don't care if you have your arm up for that or not. That looks like it hurts.
Hard right hand by Bradley, just missed over the top of Marquez's ear. Bradley flashing the jab. That's what Marquez isn't doing.
Yeah, that
Good
jab,
right hand by Bradley.
That jab is very impressive from Bradley tonight.
Well, so far, I don't know if Marquez will remember Bradley for the rest of his life, but Bradley's boxing brain is impressive so far tonight. Keeping Marquez off balance and out of rhythm.
Well, demonstrating clearly that he knows what his advantages in the fight are. He's younger, he's quicker, he's got better footwork, he's more athletic, and he's using all of that so far to put distance between himself and Juan Manuel Marquez, at least in terms of the CompuBox numbers. Punches thrown and landed. Judges respond mostly to volume. Bradley's leading in that category.
Who would you rather be at the end of a round? So far in the majority of them, maybe all except the first, I'd have rather been Bradley.
Good hook by Bradley.
Because Bradley doesn't fight like Manny Pacquiao, Marquez gets considerably fewer opportunities to show how hard he can hit with his big counter shots. Crowd comes out of its seats, excited by the last right hand by Marquez. Monica Bradley, Tim's wife, sitting at ringside with Tim's stepson and enjoying what she's seeing so far.
Fuck it! You stick to your own fucking game plan, Tim. Dude, don't fuck around, dude. You're up right now. You're winning this fucking fight. Don't fucking give it to him.
Come on. Keep boxing this motherfucker. Stay focused, man. Be a loose on this motherfucker. Don't give him none. Come on.
Combinations. Those combinations started getting in, Juan, yes. But you've got to throw it. And in his response, then you finish him off there. Break it off there. All right. Mouthpiece. Very lively.
Here you see Bradley land the best right hand of the fight. He jabbed, beat him to the punch with that right hand, and stayed low so that the left hook didn't catch him as a counter punch, as it would have had he stayed high after the right hand.
Jabs through the 5th round. Bradley landing 28 out of 136 by CompuBox count. Marquez only 13 out of 65. Bradley with a 11 connected punch margin in the 5th round. You can see what Harold Letterman's unofficial scorecard is beginning to look like. Tim Bradley so far appears to be getting what he wants out of his confrontation with Juan Manuel Marquez.
Bradley came out this round with his right hand cocked a little more, Roy. What does that mean?
No, he came out with the Floyd Mayweather shoulder up front to show that now he may be about to sit down and try to land a little bit harder punch on Marquez. He just tried to counter Marquez's right hand, and had that shot landed, it would have been probably the best punch that he landed all night.
Hard right hand by Bradley, lead right hand, and he was already moving away from the counter as he landed it.
And if he was smart, which I'm sure he did, he of course watched the Mayweather-Bradley fight. The Mayweather-Marquez fight, and that's what he's coming out doing now. He picked up a lot of things on Marquez, a lot of things that Floyd gave Marquez problems with, and he's probably utilizing those things in this round.
Marquez was thoroughly dominated by Mayweather. It was the first time Juan Manuel had moved up significantly in weight. Mayweather ultimately bamboozled him on the weight question by refusing ultimately to come down to the agreed upon limit. He paid Marquez hundreds of thousands of extra dollars for that privilege and basically laughed about it while he walked away winning the fight.
He purchased a weight advantage he didn't need and shut Marquez out.
Good left hook by Marquez. His best body shot of the fight. Good left hook upstairs by Bradley.
But you saw Bradley threw 2 punches, whereas Marquez only threw 1. That's that work rate that we're talking about again, Jim. When Marquez throws 1 strong counter, Bradley throws 2 or 3.
Bradley's jab lands, Marquez's falls short.
And while we see the same fight so far, including Harold, these aren't lopsided rounds.
No, they aren't.
I wouldn't be surprised if Marquez carried several of them that we've given to Bradley.
We remind you that judges have no access to CompuBox. They don't see the replays that we see. They watch 3 minutes with the naked eye, sitting at ringside. No electronic enhancement whatsoever. And they have to make their call based on that.
And they hear the thud of Marquez's gloves when he hits Bradley, even in the arms and shoulders.
Hard right hand by Marquez.
By both fighters, because Timothy Bradley caught him with a counter right hand, just like that, which is what he's trying to do right now. Beautiful counter right hand.
And Bradley goes back to working his jab.
And what Bradley is doing right now is he's countering Marquez's counter. He makes Marquez counter with the right hand, then he counters that right hand.
You see when you make him miss, everything, and he backs out, eh? You see that? Lively, Juan, lively. Be careful he doesn't hit you. Because he's a little bit desperate and he's looking for something. And press him, press him.
Okay? Every time you throw a punch, Tim, the opposite hand has to stay up. Okay? Don't get careless. Throw combinations and stay low every time. And that jab needs to stay busy.
Here you see Bradley counter Marquez's lead right hand, roll the shoulder, come out with a good right hand, landed high on the head, not as flush as it seemed like it did. Then that was another headbutt. A lot of contact to Marquez's head, Tim Bradley's making, whether it be with his gloves or with his own head.
Whirling dervish defensive skills flashed by Bradley in that round. We are midway through the 12-round fight, beginning round 7. CompuBox numbers in the 6th. Bradley, 12-9 edge in connected punches. He's had more connected punches, I believe, in 5 out of 6 rounds so far. Harold, how do you have it scored?
That's how I got it. 5-1, Timothy Bradley, 59-55 in points. You know, Jim, Timothy Bradley doing a nice job with that up jab. You know, he keeps the left hand low, and he comes in with the up jab. A lot of times he snaps Marquez's head back. You see, you know, he does a real good job with that up jab. But, yeah, he's landed with both hands. The way I see it, Bradley's forcing the fight. Marquez has just got to get busier. If he doesn't get busier, I can't see how the judges are going to vote for him. 5-1, Timothy Bradley.
Marquez has got to hurt Bradley in an exchange eventually.
Crowd oohs and ahs every time Marquez lands something like a hard punch.
And what Timothy Bradley has done is using his jab and his lateral movement to make Marquez have to be the aggressive fighter now, which is not his strong point. His strong point is being a counterpuncher. You make him do the opposite of what he really wants to do, and that's what Bradley has done up to this point.
Yeah, stylistically going into this fight, Bradley should have been a substantial favorite. But given their last fights, I think it made it much more of a 50-50 fight in most media members' minds.
Well, this is a night when Marquez sold the tickets. Marquez was the linchpin for selling the pay-per-view. There's a different kind of pressure on him tonight than was the case against Manny Pacquiao. Attendance 13,111. That's not a full sellout, but it's a very good-sized crowd here in the Thomas & Mack Center. We see some empty seats upstairs, but plenty of people up there as well, and the bottom part of the arena is full.
Starting to apply more pressure now.
Good jab by Marquez.
Needs to apply more pressure and is doing so. Good jab by Bradley. Jab and a right hand by Bradley.
Bradley has a good sense of when that starts to happen to make his stand, convince Marquez to fight a little bit of a tamer fight, I think.
And Marquez pressures him and mounts one of those flurries that gets the crowd's attention. Bradley goes back to working his jab, moving his feet, and outworking Marquez.
Stop that action, baby. Hey. Beautiful work. You're winning, baby. There's no doubt in my mind that you're winning.
That's all matters. Okay? All matters.
There is no doubt in my mind that you're winning. You're putting like 10 jabs to 1 on him. He's frustrated. He can't do much.
I need to break this.
Jim, I need you to do this.
Make a mess and you press him. And when you're in there close, go into the body, attack the body, and you press him again. But Lively, be careful because he wants to catch you with the counter. But he can't because you're going in, you're waiting for his response, and you nullify him. You understand me? You hear me?
Sergey Kovalev and Gennady Golovkin sitting together tonight. Kovalev from Russia, Golovkin from Kazakhstan. Kovalev, who trains and works out in Fort Lauderdale, Florida with John David Jackson. Gennady Golovkin, who trains and works out in Big Bear, California with Abel Sanchez.
See Bradley's instinct. His head gets snapped back by a shot, and he wants to get right in there. And that's Marquez's best hope, I think, at this point, is to do something to convince Bradley to start really fighting him.
Well, I think Bradley's been fighting him all night. Just that Bradley's fighting him in spurts, and he's not really giving him a chance to do nothing because Bradley is so busy. So Bradley's work rate has really caused Marquez to not be as aggressive as he'd like to be, or not to counter as much as he'd like to counter.
But this is the intelligent Bradley, and Marquez needs to do something to tap into the brave Tim Bradley.
Well, what it is a confidence thing here. Bradley's using this Mayweather look to frustrate Marquez even more, because Marquez knows now that Bradley done his homework and studied the fact that Floyd beat him relatively easy with that same look.
So it's both physical and psychological.
Yes, it is. And right now, Bradley's winning both of those battles.
Hard right hand by Marquez. That arouses some attention from the crowd. There haven't been enough of those, at least by our lights, so far in the fight for Juan Marquez.
Well, Bradley can say 30 have tried and 30 have failed.
It's not the same as 44, is it?
No, and most people think Pacquiao didn't fail.
Marquez is doing a better job, it seems to me, in the last couple rounds, picking off Bradley's jab with his gloves. But he hasn't been able to do a better job of is landing counter shots in return. He's throwing them. There's another good shot for Tim Bradley.
And the reason his counters are not really landing jabs is because that jab is so frustrating to him that he has to deal with that first, like right there. He couldn't counter as quick as he wanted to because he has to try to deal with getting that jab out of his face first.
Good left hook by Bradley. Counter punching in his own right.
Exactly.
Marquez gets in a little body shot upstairs. It's slow going for Juan Manuel. And again, the activity gap. CompuBox numbers showing you at the bottom of the screen. Bradley's already thrown 50 punches in the round. Marquez isn't quite at 30 yet.
Good body shot by Marquez.
Bradley almost landed the right-hand counter upstairs, just overshot it. There's a right hand by Marquez, and Bradley answers.
You make it first, and in fact, out. See that? But if you press him with punches. You throw one punch, no, throw two. If you can't throw three, throw two, but throw. You hit him with a good hook flow to the body, but you got to do more. You got to do more, Juan. Yes.
Get that jab on him. I know you got a good plan in your head. When he throws, I know you want to catch him on the way in, but you're opening up a little wide on your punches.
Here you see Tim Bradley slip a jab, land a beautiful uppercut to the throat of Marquez, which knocks him just enough off balance so that his counter hook is not really that effective, and it lands high on the top of the head. What we're seeing right here, I think, is an example of a younger guy with more vigor outwork an older guy.
Miguel Cotto calm, as always, as he watches the action unfold. Bradley, 48 thrown, 13 landed in round 8. And Marquez, 35 thrown, 10 landed in round 8. And so, to this point in the fight, as you can see, on Harold Letterman's unofficial scorecard, Marquez already is in need of knockdowns or a knockout to put himself in position to win the fight. Now, that's no guarantee, of course, that official judges see the same thing.
That's the only way I thought he would win the fight anyway, is if he knocked Tim Bradley out, because not many people are going to outwork or outpoint Timothy Bradley, except with the exception of Manny Pacquiao, if they're on their feet or if he's on his feet at the end of 12 rounds.
Marquez won the fight of the year last year, and Bradley won what I think's been the fight of the year so far this year. You're not in a fight of the year unless it's exceptionally violent and dramatic. This has been a solid chess match so far, but it has lacked the violence and drama of their last fights. And they have the last third of this fight to see if they can make something here.
Our interpreter, Jerry Olaya, has told us that in Juan Manuel Marquez's corner, between rounds, Nacho Beristain told Marquez, you're winning the fight, but just by a slim margin. That reminds us that in the third fight between Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez, Beristain was adamant in the late rounds, telling Marquez that he was winning, had won. He took his foot off the gas pedal in the 12th round and lost a majority decision. Bradley moving away from Marquez's right hand there.
Marquez's left eye looks like it's bothering him a little bit.
Bradley is slowing the pace just a little bit in this round, but goes back to firing the jab. Marquez takes the opportunity to fire away with the right hand.
And this has been a good round for Marquez so far because Timothy Bradley has allowed Marquez to bring the fight to him a little bit now. Oh, good right
Hard
hand.
right hand upstairs by Bradley. That might change things a little bit.
Well, it was answered by a left uppercut, right uppercut from Marquez.
Marquez lands another shot. Bradley gets in a left hook upstairs. Two good trades.
Oh, I was about to say what this is the example of when you see two guys that are on that top 10 list really in action. This is two true top 10 fighters in action, not two slug fighters or two bar fighters that we're used to seeing for Fight of the Year candidates.
And not a single one of them, or neither of them, I should say, is taking a single risk at any point in the fight.
No, they're not. They're just fighting a very tight. Well, it's a risk to be another top 10
That
fight.
left hand by
Marquez.
That looked like it did something to Bradley.
That hurt Bradley.
The right hand now.
Marquez's best round in quite some time.
Please, keep on top of him. Keep on top of him and throw to the body. But be careful. You see, you make him miss, and the poor man despairs, you know?
Hey, remember, he's gonna try to stay stronger in his rounds because he's losing the fight. Okay, so he's gonna get stronger. So you're gonna have to be a little bit more technical on this shit.
We're in championship round right now. This is the 10th round.
Hey, they're making adjustments, remember. Okay? You have to make adjustments. Okay, big.
He see Marquez counter with a right hand and a left uppercut. Then as Tim Bradley jumps over with a jab, he counters that with another left hook, which is probably the best three counters or best two counter punches that he's landed in the fight tonight.
Marquez. That clearly, it seemed to us, was Marquez's best round in quite some time. He landed 22 out of 43 in that round to 16 of 45 for Bradley. Harold, how do you have it now?
Okay, so make it 7 rounds to 2. 88, 83, Timothy Bradley. I don't know. In my mind, this is a very easy fight to score. Timothy Bradley's just outworking him, outboxing him, landed a lot more cleaner shots. Juan Marquez came back with a terrific round in round 9 to win that. But he's got to do a lot more. He's just got to throw more punches, and he doesn't. I think Bradley's just winning this, on clean punching and much more of it. 8-2, 7-2, Timothy Bradley.
I
Into the
agree
10th
with
round here.
I agree with Harold's card, but there were a couple rounds in the early middle part of this fight that really there wasn't much action. And if they go Marquez's way, if you change 2 of those rounds, it's anyone's fight.
And there are Twitter indications that may be the thought process of some media members at ringside. Judges don't tweet, so we don't know what the official judges are thinking at this point in the fight.
Jim, you met.
Oh.
And look at Bradley's reaction.
Hard right hand. Marquez was hurt from Bradley's right hand. And now Marquez fires back. But Timothy Bradley landed a thunderous right hand shot about as big as he can throw.
They both landed heavy artillery. And that's what Marquez needs. You mentioned they need to take risks. Marquez needs to take risks.
Bradley hasn't taken the kinds of risks that he took against Provodnikov. Nothing even really close.
And that's to his advantage.
That's what he had to do. That was everybody's estimation of the smart fight for Tim Bradley tonight.
We've seen at the end of the last round, in the middle of this one, Marquez starting to land some of the heavy thunder upstairs.
Bradley jumping in with the right hand, taking a couple body shots from Marquez.
And you got to know, Bradley knows that he's fighting a much more experienced fighter this time, so he can't make the same crazy throats that he took in Ruslan Provodnikov. You can't do the same thing with a guy who doesn't have this experience. Or you can't do things with that guy that you can't do with this guy. So it's not that he's being safe, he's just being smarter.
And let's say it, so far, those fight-changing tight punches from Marquez, when he's landed them, had not changed the fight in any significant way. Bradley's taken them very well.
away from Marquez's thought of trying to counter.
Slip.
Tim, we're in championship round, baby. We're on it. 11th round. Hey, we got 2 more rounds, baby. Hey, and you're ahead. I don't know about how much, but you are fucking ahead. Hey, if you get careless, dude, in there, we're gonna lose everything.
Estar cambiándote golpes. Pero salió botado el güey.
He couldn't catch you there.
Grasa.
Yeah, Vaseline now.
Agarra, agarra.
Grab it here.
Más.
More.
Grasa.
He see Marquez landing a beautiful right uppercut, probably the best right uppercut he landed in the fight tonight. Then Tim Bradley comes back and lands the same punch, a short right uppercut or kind of right hook type punch here to say, if you can do it, so can I.
And knocked Marquez off balance with the right hand. Copy box numbers in that round were virtually equal. Bradley was 14 of 42. Marquez was 14 of 37. Harold Letterman gave the round to Bradley, stretching the margin on the Letterman scorecard. 2 rounds to go. Again, the way Harold is scoring the fight to this point, Marquez needs knockdowns or a knockout to have a chance to win.
When these 2 names appear on a judge's card, it's very hard to say what the case may be.
Yes, we were pretty sure of what we saw in Bradley Pacquiao, and the judges confounded us there.
After the last round, Bradley's corner told him, you're winning. I don't know by how much, but you're winning. And that reflects Marquez's work in the last several rounds. That Marquez, has caught up.
Body work by Bradley after some early body work by Marquez. Left hand to the body by Marquez there. Crowd trying to lift Juan Manuel Marquez to another epic performance in what has been an epic career.
What's that? Break. Hooks. Break. Hooks.
Bradley throughout his career has been a tough nut to crack because of his toughness, his conditioning, his solid skills across the board, his determination. He figures out a way to win. And Marquez is going to have to, in our eyes, do something big to get the win here.
Crowd wants so badly for Marquez to do something dramatic that they ooh and ah even on his misses. They say nothing, make no noise when Bradley pops him in the mouth with a jab. Bradley in and out, making Marquez miss the right hand.
Bradley in this round looks far more fatigued in my view than he did a couple rounds ago. Maybe the reflection of Marquez's work the last several rounds.
And Marquez's work to the body. Marquez has been throwing some beautiful body shots.
But missing upstairs with that big left hook.
Okay, talk to me, Tim. Last round. Last round, baby. How you feel? Good. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. You got him with a good body shot. You slowed him down. Remember, he's gonna come with everything. He's gonna try to come and knock the shit out of you. Okay? He needs a knockout to win. You need to stick to your plan and don't let him work.
It's the last one. It's the last one. I think you're winning. I think you're winning. But you can't win a fight running. You can't, but press him in the last round. Press him, ridicule him. Look for him and throw the punches. Throw as many as you can and make him miss. That's what we have.
CompuBox numbers entering the last round. Bradley is 154 out of 514. Marquez is 137 out of 406. Marquez with an advantage in the number of power punches landed. Bradley has landed more jabs. Harold Letterman gave the 11th round to Juan Manuel Marquez. Only the 3rd round he's won in the fight on the Letterman scorecard.
But it could have easily been, say, the 6th round. He's won in the fight on many other cards.
Juan Manuel Marquez has one 12th round knockout in his career. 16 years ago, in 1997, against a fighter named Howard Vincent. Nacho Beristain seemed to be asking Marquez for a whirlwind of activity. He's become the stalking aggressor, and Bradley, the retreating counterpuncher, now as we reach the last round of the fight.
Oh, good
Hard right hand by Marquez. Good shot. Lead right hand.
And that's the one thing where the judging can be a little bit difficult, because one judge could give more credit to the power shots as though one gives more credit to the accumulation.
Again, the crowd oohing and eyeing as Marquez misses 3 big swings. Bradley fighting as if he thinks he hasn't won.
Well, in Bradley's corner, they say he's going to come at you with everything. He knows he's losing. Careful. And in Marquez's corner, they're saying go at him with everything. And it kind of, even though Beristain's saying he thinks Marquez is winning, it, I think, betrays the fact that both corners are seeing more or less the same thing. Still, this, on the scorecards, he could be hanging in the balance right now.
You heard Harold Letterman say it's not a hard fight to score. Marquez landing a little left hand upstairs. Biggest punch in the round was a right hand by Bradley, but he's not as active as he has been through much of the fight. "30 seconds to go. Which fighter has a final flurry in it? Marquez with a grazing right hand that the crowd thought was thunder. Good right hand by Marquez in that exchange. Oh! And Bradley almost knocks Marquez down. Counter right hand shot at the end of the 12th may have bought the 12th round for Bradley.
There's no way a competent judge can give that round to Marquez when he almost went down from a left hook. Bradley wins the round on that punch. However else he scored the other rounds. It's not as though Marquez was so far ahead in that round that when he gets rocked to the point where he almost goes down, he's built the kind of lead that he still wins the round.
That's Tim Bradley and his father enjoying themselves in the corner.
And it wasn't a great dramatic fight, but what if that left hook decides the fight?
Let's take another look in replay at what happened at the end of the round.
They had a full-out exchange, and Timothy Bradley beats him to the punch with the left hook, knocks him off balance, and it could have buckled his knees some, but I think it was more off balance than a buckle. But it almost led to a knockdown, because had he touched the canvas, it would have been ruled a knockdown, because that was a vicious left hook right there.
That's how Bradley looked several times against Provodnikov.
Although on review, and the judges don't have the ability to do that, on review, it was more of a balance shot. Marquez was squared up, and less of the kind of he lost his legs because he was hurt type of shot that it looked like at first glance.
It was theatrical, though, and it could affect the scoring. And Harold Letterman, how did you wind it up?
Jim, I got a 117, 111, 9 rounds to 3. Timothy Bradley. He just outworked him. He landed cleaner, harder shots. I thought he carried the fight, boxed beautifully, and did enough on defense. 9-3, Timothy Bradley.
And Harold, take us through the official judges who'll score the fight.
Okay, Glenn Feldman, good judge from Connecticut that brought him in for this fight. He worked Paulie Malignaggi, Pablo Cizzacano. That was a controversy, but generally he's right on the money. Robert Hoyle, a veteran judge, really a good judge. He was in a controversy with Pacquiao Marquez 3. He scored at a draw, but generally he's good too. He's from Nevada. Patricia Morse-Jarman, an excellent Nevada judge. She was in that awful decision in 2010, but that was a long time ago between Shumanov and Gabriel Campillo. But she'll do a good job.
And let's go to Michael Buffer, who has the scores in hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, by way of Wynn Las Vegas, we go to the scorecards. Glenn Feldman scores the contest 115 to 113. He scores it for Marquez. Robert Hoyle scores it 115-113, and he has it for Bradley. Patricia Morse-Jarman scores the contest 116 to 112 to the winner by split decision. And still WBO welterweight champion of the world from Palm Springs, California, USA, Timothy Desert Storm Bradley.
So Timothy Bradley gets the split decision win, as Glenn Feldman is the one judge who scores the fight for Marquez. And Feldman gave the last round to Bradley in scoring the fight for Marquez, whereas Robert Hoyle, who scored the fight for Bradley, gave the last round to Marquez. Wow. Patricia